Hello. I gave up on Vlogmas. It was a lot of work, it was a lot of effort. I enjoyed doing what I did. I got to practice editing, which was good fun. I'm glad I did that. But it's been really busy few weeks, and then the kids got sick over the weekend. There's a stomach virus going around, so they got that. So it just became one thing too many, and I had to decide what to drop, and Vlogmas seemed the easiest thing to do that. But I'm still going to make content, I'm still going to make videos for those of you that are watching. Today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind. So, as I've discussed before, I suffered a birth trauma, and as a result of that, have suffered with PTSD and PND, and I've spoken about that quite a long length in the past, so I'm not going to sit here and talk about all of that again. But something has happened. There's a new TV advert, a Pampers advert, sort of praising midwives. And it was a bit triggering, not because I have anything against midwives. I actually think my midwives did a good job. I know that's not the case for everybody, but for me, I think they did a good job in the situation that they had. But I do have some ill feeling about some of the care I received around Eloise's birth. And just on top of that, I find it difficult to see anything about birth. It does trigger me. And I can't really deny that. So I did find it difficult to see that advert, and I have avoided it since seeing it that one time. I went from the Birth Trauma Association Facebook group, and everybody on there seems has also been triggered by it, and there's been a real anger about it, and that's what I'm struggling to understand, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. There's been this huge amount of anger and backlash over it. Some of them have written to Pampers themselves to make complaints about the advert. And I think there's something that happens that when you are traumatized, when you're in the midst of the pain, you are unable to see the bigger picture. Our world becomes very small. Because of course these people suffered a real trauma. Of course these people really have something to process and try and move on from, and to acknowledge, and that's okay. But there are many, many more midwives out there who do fantastic work and work really hard and really are trying to do their best at all times for their patients, for the mothers and the children and the fathers as well that are there, and parents in general. They're trying to do their best, and things don't always go to plan. But I think the vast majority of midwives are really good at their job and really care and want to make people's birth experience a positive one. And I don't think that because of a small percentage of people who are feeling really, really disillusioned with the care they received during birth, we should penalise the good midwives and take away any praise that they might receive. It just feels unfair. Now, I know that studies have been done recently to show that actually most women have some form of birth trauma. But as with me, I think in many cases, again, I don't know the exact percentages, but I would think in many cases that's not down to midwives specifically, it's down to all sorts of different factors. And I'm still able, despite everything that happened to me, to see that midwives generally do a really good job. And my niece is a midwife. She trained really hard to become one. She works so hard that in fact she had to actually leave the NHS because the funding is so poor and the hours are so long and the whole thing is so unrewarding that she couldn't do it anymore. But she is a good midwife. I know she is, because I know the kind of person that she is. And I've spoken to her about my trauma. I've spoken to her about other stories that I've read on the Birth Trauma Association. She can see how those things happen. She has seen similar things happen. She can see why, as a mother in that experience, in that situation, you would be traumatized. But she has also pointed out that sometimes the way that midwives are is because they are overstretched, and you might be their 15th delivery in a shift and they are beyond exhausted, and haven't had a decent night's sleep in 3 weeks because of the shifts they've been working, and the way that your child is being born because of the position of the child, or because of the length of time it's taking for the child to come out, or whatever it is, means that the birth is complicated, more complicated than normal, and they don't have the energy left in them for the niceties. They're just going to try and get your baby out. And so they're not going to have the wherewithal to have that discussion with you as to, do you want to have a C-section? This is what it's going to involve. They're like, we just need to get you in and out. And they're not trying to be cruel, and they're not trying to be bad. They're not trying to cause you harm. They just want to get the both of you through this alive at the end of it. Now, again, there will be people out there, practitioners, health practitioners, who are not doing the right thing and who are actually really quite bad at their job. But I don't think that's the majority. I think our system, our NHS system, is underfunded. I think our healthcare workers are overworked, and I think unfortunately patient care is therefore being affected. But let's not take away the praise. Let's not say that advert can't run. It upset me, it triggered me, and what I've done is ignore it, avoid it, not look at it. It's not for me. It's not for me right now. Who is it for? It's for the midwives. It's for the people who do work hard. It's for the people who are trying their best, who are trying to bring children into this world in a healthy and positive way. And let's let them have their praise. They don't get much. And I understand the pain of birth trauma. I do. And I don't want to pretend that that's not important and doesn't warrant our attention and our care. Of course it does. Of course it does. But in our trauma, in our pain, let's try not to lose sight of the fact that our experience is ours alone. And we can't and we shouldn't allow that experience to tarnish everything and tarnish everybody else's. I've had to work really hard when I've become friends with or had friends that have become pregnant, that I have to work hard not to tell them my experience, not to share it, not to overshare. They don't need to know. They don't need to know what I went through. Their experiences will be their own, and I will support them whatever happens. I think it's really important to try and remember that there is a bigger world out there, and that life is more than just our own experiences. Life is everybody's experiences, and I think that's really, really important to keep in mind, as hard as that may be when you're in pain. So I am sending this video out with love to everybody I know who is in pain right now because of a birth trauma. I love you, I care about you, and I think what you're going through is awful, and I hope that you get the help that you need to help you move on and to find some peace. And to those out there, those midwives out there who work incredibly hard and really are trying their very best in a really difficult environment, I want to say thank you. Keep doing your best. Keep trying to give these women positive birth experiences, and try and learn from the bad ones. Listen to the patient. Listen to what went wrong. Pass those messages on to your bosses. Let them know how we feel. That's important too. But let's not stand around throwing hate at each other. Let's all try and work together to make the future better. I think that's that's all I have to say about it, really. I'm going to try and do one more video before Christmas Day. I'm not sure whether that's actually going to happen, but I'm going to try. But as for now, if you want to hear more, if you want to engage with this kind of thinking, please make comments below. Hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the bell for notifications for when I do post new videos. And until next time,